So you want to start a marketing agency, but you're not sure what kind of service to offer or what type of agency you should even have in 2022. Well, I'm going to answer that question. I'm going to give you the top 5 agencies that I would start if I was beginning in 2022 right now. Let's get real with each other for one quick second and understand that offering Facebook ads as a service is not as sexy as it used to be. It's just not. Facebook is dying. It's for our old grandparents. I mean, if you're older, then you probably understand. You're still on Facebook, but your kids aren't, your grandkids aren't. They're not posting as much. And that's just the reality of Facebook. Unless this whole meta thing takes off, we're really going to be seeing a decline year after year in the Facebook marketplace. It's just not as good as it used to be, but that's okay because we have TikTok, and that's number 1. Now, the first agency that I would start, it would be a TikTok ads agency. This is the fastest growing platform on the face of the planet right now. Year after year, month after month, people are just flocking to this program. They're spending more and more time on this program. Now, a lot of people may be thinking like, isn't it a younger audience? Yes, but those are also your future customers. And on top of that, because there's such a young audience there and there's so much growth there, since there's so many young people using it, all the older people are starting to use it too. And you'll notice when you get on there, if you're not on there now, that there's a lot of people from the age 20 to 40 and even higher that are making content and consuming this content, which makes the ads a very lucrative place to be. And it works very, very well, especially with e-commerce businesses. So if I was to have an agency offering TikTok advertising in the year 2022, I would be doing it for e-commerce businesses. And if you were smart, you'd niche down into a specific area, something that you like, whether that's beauty products, activewear, household goods, something of that nature. You want to choose something specific and then offer advertising for those e-commerce brands. Now you might be wondering, should I be listening to the guy drinking a beer during a YouTube video? The answer is yes, because I don't rely on YouTube ad revenue to derive my income. I have an agency, I operate this agency, and I rely on that income. I do this for fun. I do this because I enjoy making content, and it's not something I had time to do before, but now I do because my agency runs by itself, which brings me to the second idea. Now, this second marketing agency is not for the beginners, but if you are very talented, very tech savvy, and you really want to strive for something new and very unique, then make an automation agency. Now, what an automation agency does, this is an agency that takes away time, that takes away work from the business owner. So you would go into the business and you would look at what exactly they do that's repetitive. What can be outsourced to a VA? What could be done with a piece of software? What can be done easier than just wasting the business owner's time or someone that costs them $100,000 a year to pay them to do? What can you do to take these tasks away and put it towards a computer, put it to someone very cheap, so that way you have an automated process that can continuously repeat without wasting valuable time for the business owner. So an automation agency will take a lot more effort, because if you're not familiar with Zapier or Go High Level or programming in general, sometimes you got to whip out the Python and start making custom code that can work with these APIs and work on navigating multiple apps at once. Unless you get to that point, it's going to be hard to build this agency. It's hard to offer, basic customization or basic automations these days, because a lot of software apps will do it for you, like Zapier, for instance. Now, number 3, this is another personal favorite of mine, because these two platforms are not going anywhere. They are going to stay. They're here to stay. And one of them is Google and the other is YouTube. And you can offer them in conjunction, Google and YouTube advertising. Now, this is better than Facebook because Google and YouTube it's not the same platform. It's not a social media site per se. They're both search engine sites. So Google, you're going and you're searching, you have intent behind what you're typing. And the same is with YouTube. Now, if you're familiar with YouTube, maybe you have a few creators that you're engaged with and continuously going back to. But if you're asking YouTube a question, or if you're asking YouTube for specific information, then you're giving search intent based on what you're looking for. So having advertising on these platforms is going to be a lot more lucrative than offering Facebook ads. And there's a lot of material out there on YouTube and on Google on how to do this. So if you are a pure beginner and you want to get started with something that's useful and going to stick around, these are great platforms to learn how to advertise on and offer these as a service to local and e-commerce businesses alike. You could even do it. It works very, very well for law offices or software businesses. It works very, very well in general if you know what you're doing. So I would recommend going down into YouTube and Google and picking up a class, just figuring out how to do this and then experimenting, because that's really what experience is going to drive the butter for you. Number 4 is something that I really like because it's what I do. It's one of my agencies right now, and that's called a retention marketing agency. Now, I do this for e-commerce businesses, and what I do is I do emails, text messages, and chatbots to keep their customers engaged and to keep their lifetime value high, so that way they're coming back, they're engaging with the brand, they're leaving reviews, they're buying more products, they're recommending these products to other people. You're building a relationship with the customer. Now, on top of this, there's also a lot of sequences and flows that you can put into the business if they don't have an abandoned cart process, if they don't have an abandoned a browsing and abandonment process. Then you have these little implementations that you add in through Klaviyo to make these customers come back and make the purchase. And if they don't have this, you can drive significant revenue into their brand, 20 to 40%. So if you can offer 20 to 40% increases, you have a very powerful offer as a negotiator for them to come to the table and talk with you and get them to buy your product, your service. The second to last idea is going to be Now, this second to last option is going to be very difficult for some of us old heads, but for some of the younger people who are very hip with trending tech, such as NFTs, then this might be the spot for you. This could be very high price point. You could probably sell this service for $5,000 to $10,000 or more, but being an NFT agency. Now, what I would do if I was running an NFT agency, there would be 2 different type of agencies that I could start, or 2 different core offers. One being, we will start your NFT from A to Z, all the steps in between, and get your collection started and launched for you, and then marketing that product to the masses. Now, the other core service that you could offer is just NFT marketing. So people who are creating an NFT and they want marketing, they want good marketing to get this in front of more people, to drive up the price and get hype behind their product, then you want to be an NFT agency that can do so. So you would be focusing on advertising and networking, building a community around these NFTs, whether that's on Discord or however you think is best for this current market. And the last one, I'm not a big fan of this, but I did throw it in here because it is a pretty easy passive agency that you can have. Now, if you have a job right now and you don't want to go full-time into something and you do want to make some money on the side, all of these options are available because you can outsource the work to someone else. A lot of people do that. But at the same time, what you could do, if you want to do it yourself, you want to be in control, then what I would do is an influencer marketing agency. Now, what you would do as an influencer agency is you would get in contact with influencers and you'd help them build relationships with brands. So if you got in touch with, let's say, Sarah or Michael, who runs a YouTube channel, and you want to get them brand deals, what you would do is you'd go to these different brands and say, hey, Michael has 100,000 followers. They're all engaged, 21 to 35 years old. It's around this topic, blah, blah, blah. I think it would be a good fit for your product. Let's talk some more, blah, blah, blah. You do something of that nature. You build a relationship with these brands, you get them to have a connection, and then you take a commission from the brand deal from your client. Now, another way to do it is to build relationships with the brands themselves and then source them influencers to market their products, and they will pay you a commission for every influencer that you bring that signs the deal. Now, starting an agency is something that anyone can do, but it doesn't make it very, very easy. Like, it's very easy to it's very easy to do all the steps, but it's very hard to do them all well correctly. So if you're brand new, my advice to you would just be to get going, to get started, and to not overthink the process, because it's going to take quite a few attempts. Now, you may get your first client quite easily. Then you got to learn, how do I get my second, third, and fourth client? How do I keep them as clients? There's all sorts of small little things that you have to pick up along the way, but the best thing you could do is just get started and make mistakes along the way, so that way you can overcome those problems and have solutions for them in the future. Now, if you like this type of content, I'm not only going to be talking about marketing agencies, because quite frankly, I just want to get into more different content. I want to talk about marketing, sales, business, life hacks, all of these different strategies that I do or I'm aware of and want to try. And if you like that type of content, go ahead and like and subscribe, and even tell me down below in the comments what type of content you're looking for, so that way I can make it for you. I'd love to be a part of your journey in your success online. To you and to me, goodbye.